Portraits of the Bible Belt. Portrait 1 of my grandmother. Over the breakfast table, forks scraping on coronet plates with dainty blue trim, she was Grandma. As in, Grandma, thanks for making me oats. Or Grandma, where's the sugar? But roosting among flocks of mockingbirds, I sacrificed her name to the guillotine with the flap of my tongue. Grandma, my grandmother, the D in axe. The memory of D burned into the fractals of my iris, so tonight I could only speak to her with my head bowed. Best the mockingbirds don't know the way Grandma's head bows, back hunched over the butter churn until her speech turns to whey. Whiskey floating through the room as though her son thinks his mustache will filter out the smell. Grandma used to tell me if I sprinkled salt on a bird's wing, it wouldn't be able to fly, and I could catch one. I didn't believe her, but chased crows through the flower beds with a salt shaker so I could believe her when she promised me next summer the blue jays would sing. Portrait 2 of my uncle at his funeral. They lined his casket with purple silk and rimmed his neck with the same silk-striped tie you wear to church on Sundays to hide the buttons on your shirt so the preacher can hide from your bare chest. I say Larry's fingernails are too clean. In death, they made him lie, the same as when he threw newspaper over the empty glass bottles in the trash can before Grandma came calling. In death, they made him lie still, with lips shut over his tar-stained teeth and hands unrounded, iron to his abdomen lest his calluses pull threads on his purple satin pillow. In his death, they lied to themselves to grow a womb to hold their sadness and hide it under the dirt. I say they should bury him on Saturday night by the bonfire while I skirt between their curses and crawl up to the roof to hide from the cigarette smoke rolling off their lips and pretend someone in an airplane will see me waving. But since Grandma only recognizes him on Sundays, they buried him in a suit. On a Sunday morning, bathing in purple, singing, "Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace," to Larry, our King and Savior. Portrait 3 of the family heirloom that I keep in my pantry. Flour on the table edge streaks white across her navy apron, eggs splattered against sunset air. It smells like bacon and sizzles like needles falling on the wooden floor every afternoon by the window, thumbing color swatches and old buttons. I ate her grits and chocolate cakes with the guilt of the floors she swept and the sons and daughters who never called. My arms, pulley-rigged, spooning dirt into a mound that grows behind our backs to shield us from the summer sun. Grass roots itself, sticks in my bare feet as I turn around to plow up the hill straight into the heat of the oven's mouth, hugging her mother's cast iron skillet, seasoning from years I never saw flaking onto my grown palms, molecules of lard or collards or venison. Below, her navy apron is still prickled with grease, and I'm licking icing off my fingers in the morning. Portrait 4 of my young father and my old father. My father would furrow his brow, forehead wrinkled up like cotton rows, a series of rises and creases bunching up at the horizon, tapering off at the line where his hair used to be. "Stop calling it a trailer. It's a mobile home," he said. What he meant was, I didn't fail. This isn't Georgia, where the girls are sweet peaches, sugary sap dribbling down your chin, sticky in the heat, bells with petticoats and lustful accents. This is Bama, where bits of pine cones stick in the bottoms of naked feet, pattering, panting through the forest. Twigs sprout at jutted angles from little banshee heads whose cheeks never scrub clean. When the tornadoes came in summer, We'd all sit around the TV, struggling to remember which was warning and which was watch. Rain on the tin roof like pebbles in my stomach. Bolts of light slashing the sky open like my brush thrown in anger when it shattered the mirror. Thunder sending shivers all over the earth like the cabinet trembled when my brother's head crashed into it after he was thrown. Dad, I didn't mean to drop the eggs, he'd said too late. Last winter, I went back. Mascara coating my lashes, hair neatly brushed, confused for a Yankee. My father looked crookways down at my baby sister, kissing her forehead so softly. The slitted eyes I remember, too tired to be angry. She's my second chance, he said. He never could say, I'm sorry. Portrait 5 of a blueberry donut I ate at age 22. I unzipped my white skirt in a Chevron Station bathroom next to the Holiday Inn. Let it fall past my ankles to pool around the black stalks, thrusting my heels away from the tile floor. 4 inches to make sure I was almost as tall as the men, but small enough to let their sunshine faces beam down on my flowered collarbone, their sunbeam hands to entice me open. The man tonight liked mini skirts. He liked young girls, so I wore light pink lipstick. If I saw that man again now, after changing back into blue jeans and tennis shoes, I would know that the memory of kissing his jawline without having to pull his head down by his necktie belonged to a girl with longer legs. Last week, I had cried alone in the kitchen over my last $10 and the failed blueberry pancakes that hugged my spatula like a spool of tangled yarn. The Chevron station had blueberry cake donuts, so I asked the clerk if she could make change for a $100 bill. When she smiled, I wondered if she knew, if she'd been there before, if she would have done the same.